Hello, Julie here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is about the creation of 3 Christmas cards. For the Christmas cards, I'm going to be using the DCWV Merry and Bright paper pad that I have used in previous videos. I'm going to start with this card, which is a double Z fold card. To make the card base, I cut a piece of white cardstock that is 10.5 by 5 1/4. and a second piece of white cardstock that's 9.5 by 3.5. Using my Martha Stewart scoreboard, I score the base card at 2 5/8 and 5 1/4, and I fold the front section of the card back on itself. So the first score line is a mountain fold and the second is a valley fold. The smaller piece of cardstock is also scored at 2 5/8 and 5 1/4, and the first fold, the small section, is a valley fold and the middle fold is a mountain fold. I always like to use my bone folder to really press my creases home. So the small piece attaches to the card base with the largest piece at the front. I choose a couple of pattern papers from my pad. This paper I'm going to cut one piece that is 5 inches square and 2 pieces that are 2 3/8 inches by 5 inches. They're going to actually be attached to the, what would you say, the outside of the card. I'm choosing a second pattern paper now, and I'm going to cut several pieces from this. These are going to go onto my smaller card piece. So I'm going to cut one piece that's 4 inches by 3 1/4, two pieces that are 2 3/8 by 3 1/4, and one piece that's 3.5 by 2 3/4. I wanted a contrasting paper to go between 2 layers of the pink Fa La 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 paper, so I chose this black piece and I cut it to 3 3/4 inches by 3 inches. So this is where I'm cutting the 3.5 inch by 2 3/4 inch piece of the Fa La 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 paper to sit on top of the black piece that I just cut. I've used black ink to ink around the edge of all of my pattern papers, and now I'm using double-sided tape to attach them to the card base and to the Z fold piece as well. Now I'm going to work out where I want my Z piece to be attached to my card. I'm going to use a pencil to mark the part that's going to attach to the front section of the card, so that when I attach my double-sided tape I don't go over the edge. I attach double-sided tape up to that pencil mark and on the whole area of the back of the Z fold piece, so that when I attach it to the card it's attached firmly and stays in place. I don't want this to fall apart. I removed the back of the tape and positioned my panel in about the middle of the card, and then press down firmly to make sure that it's positioned well. I then used my eraser to remove the pencil mark that I had made on the card front. So that's the foundation of the card completed. Now I'm going to start on the embellishments. To embellish this card, I'm going to use this die and cut out 3 Christmas cards, Christmas trees I mean, in gold cardstock. You can see the gold cardstock. I actually cut 3 in black and 3 in gold because I wasn't sure what I was going to use, but I decided to go with the gold, and I stick 2 of those in the front panel and 1 on the inside panel. I also cut the greeting Merry Christmas using the Elizabeth Craft Designs Merry Christmas die. I cut that in black and gold as well, and I decided to go with the black one. So you can see all of those pieces are now attached to my card. I use Aleene's original tacky glue to do that with. Now that I've got everything stuck on my card, I decide that I need a place to write a greeting, so I cut a piece of white cardstock that's 1 7/8 inches by 2 3/4 inches, and I stick that on top of the last panel on the inside of the card. That completes the first card for this video. Okay, card number 2. For this one I decided to get away from the Christmas trees and go with stars. I cut my black paper 5 inches square, and then a piece of white cardstock 4.5 inches square, then the pink is 4 1/4 inches, and then another piece of white that is 3 3/4 inches. I then used this Nellie's multi-frame star, about the 4th size I think up, and cut an assortment of different coloured stars to make a circle or a wreath around my card. I then set about inking the edges of all the stars and all of the pattern papers. I used double-sided tape to attach the papers to the card base, and I used Aleene's original tacky glue to attach the stars to the front of the card. For my greeting I used the Elizabeth Craft Designs gold Merry Christmas that I had cut out to try on the previous card, and I used that on this card. I attached it to a piece of white cardstock using glue, trimmed it down so that it was had a very fine border around it, then cut a piece of black pattern paper, the same as the background paper, that gave me about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around the greeting. Then I used foam squares to attach that to the card front. And that completes our second card for the video. Our third card for today is a gatefold card. It uses a circle for the overlap. I'm starting off with a 5 1/4 inch square card, and I'm using my Spellbinder's standard large circles. I've used the largest circle and the second largest circle. I've cut 1 in white and 1 in pattern paper, and they're going to be the overlap for the card. I inked the edges of both circles. Then use double-sided tape to attach the smaller circle on top of the large one. I used my scoreboard to create a fold line about 1/2 inch from the edge of the largest circle. Using the same pattern paper that I'd used on the small circle, I cut a piece 5 inches by 5 inches to go on the front of my card. I inked the edges of this piece and then attached it to the front of my card. I then chose a different pattern paper, cut that to 5 inches square, inked around the edges and attached that to the inside of the card so that it covered up the join where the circle was attached to the card base. I wanted to make a panel for the front of my card to hold my embellishment, so I cut a piece of white cardstock that was 3 inches by 5 1/4. I inked the edges of that and then I also cut a piece of darker pattern paper that was 2 3/4 inches by 5 inches, inked the edge of that and attached these two to the front of the cardstock with about a 1/2 inch to the left of the panel. I used this embossing folder. I think it came with a magazine or something like that, I'm not sure, hasn't got a brand on it, and I embossed this gold cardstock. I took my scissors and cut around the edge of the embossed area, including the little star at the top. I decided to use 2 of the black Christmas tree dies that I had cut for the previous card on the circular part of this card's base. So I used my Aleene's original tacky glue to attach those Christmas trees to the panel. I felt that the gold embossed Christmas tree blended into the black background too much, so I cut a piece of white cardstock so that it was just a fraction bigger than the Christmas tree, and I inked around the Christmas tree and the panel, then used glue to attach the panel at the Christmas tree to the white piece of cardstock and then attached that to the front of the card. Once again I used the Elizabeth Craft Designs Merry Christmas die to cut a black sentiment to be attached to the inside of the card using glue. I had a little black star that I had left over from one of the Christmas tree dies, so I used that as the dot above the I in Christmas. That brings to an end this card and this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video today, and I hope you give these cards a try. They're pretty simple, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please subscribe to my channel and share my video with your friends, and thank you for dropping by. I hope to see you next time. Thank you.